everyone's Forest Focus. Today we welcome a Nottingham Forest fan who's raised thousands for charity with an epic trek through Great Britain, and we'll also discuss some fresh transfer news, as well as Steve Cooper's potential return to management at a near neighbour. With that in mind, today's guest is Paul Lindsay. Paul, how are you doing?
I'm good, thanks, Matt. Thanks for inviting me on. Really appreciate this, and wonderful podcast that kept me going throughout the whole journey. So, cheers for that.
Yes, your name will be familiar to people. You've had a few mentions as you walk from Land's End to John O'Groats. That's what we're here to talk about, as well as some Forest chat, which we'll get onto after that. But we always do these things with unfamiliar faces. We get them to tell their Forest story and how they came to be a Reds fan. So how did it come about for you?
So, yeah, me and Dad have been season ticket holders at Forest since 1981. Like most people, parents had big mortgages. So my first memories as like a 7 or 8 year old was going up to the back of what is now the Peter Taylor stand. And 20 minutes from the end, they used to open the gates and let you in for free. So Dad and I spent the first couple of seasons on a freebie at the back of the Taylor stand, and we just got the bug for it then. Great father-son relationship developed from that. Some great times, obviously, seeing the back end of the European days, and some of them very talented players. So yeah, it was sort of all born on that. So season tickets went from there, and the journey began. And here we are now, all these years later. And Dad, even though he's very poorly with Alzheimer's, we still go down in the experiences of the day. And that's what it's all about. A match day into that experience, and being together as father and son. So it's fantastic.
Yeah, you mentioned your father there. He's the inspiration behind the decision to walk from Land's End to John O'Groats. So tell us a bit about your dad and why you decided to do the walk.
Yeah, so my dad was a senior social worker for Nottinghamshire County Council, and he's helped a lot of people across the county in many different ways. He specialised in mental health services. But tragically, worked with the families in the gym at the Hillsborough disaster. We were there as Forest fans that day, and Dad drove us home. He went back and spent 48 hours in the gym with them families. And you'll see on my Hiking Ginger videos on YouTube, there's a special tribute to Liverpool and Forest as one of the days on the walk, as it's meant so much to my father. Some of the things, obviously, he told me from that day, obviously I wouldn't put out there, but very tragic and upsetting. I think it's the only time I've ever seen my dad cry. So yeah, this is a man who's a very caring guy. Lots of compassion, lots of time and effort into the Nottinghamshire area professionally. And as I say, he was there, my best mate, my best man. And so I couldn't think of a better tribute. He sadly was diagnosed with Alzheimer's at the age of 70, which was 8 years ago. He didn't get a diagnosis for 4 years. And what I wanted to do, Matt, is speed up the diagnosis time by raising some serious funds. What they're trying to do at the Alzheimer's Society, trying to get a blood test to diagnose Alzheimer's so people can start medications as opposed to the current head scan. And I think there's 96 scanners across the whole of the UK and Northern Ireland. So this is the big problem, is diagnosis time. So the Alzheimer's Society are doing a lot of research and ploughing funds in there. So this is why I'm currently just giving paid stands at £19,000. And I want to keep this going in the months ahead to really just raise as much money as possible.
If you get an earlier diagnosis and you can start medication, then does that slow the spread of the illness or anything like that?
Yes, it does. There's two medications that have been currently medically trialled. One is called donanemab and one is called lecanemab. And basically what they sort of predicted with my dad at 78 now, he'd have probably been 85 before he'd have got to the point where he is now. My dad is still reasonably physically fit, but he's just sat in a chair. There's nothing there. The man's gone. And as I say, going back to the walk, he'd want me to do something positive out of this. And that's exactly what I did.
Do you know how far you walked? I did Google it. Yeah. There is a distance, but how far did you walk?
So, as the crow flies, it's 876, but I'm not a crow. So, I did 1,053 miles. I spent a lot of the last winter on the computer, planning the days. Each day on OS Maps took 2 hours. So, obviously, the 52 days. So a lot of planning involved. That was on a GPS system. And I was walking approximately between 20 and 25 miles a day. I had 2 days off the whole trip. But yeah, so 54 in total, but 52 walking days. So yeah, the last 18 months I spent a lot of time planning, researching kit. And again, going back to Dad, where all this was born from, we were in Bingham Running Club together. We used to run marathons and half marathons. And even though I'm a dad of 3 and got the dad bod, I knew there was a runner under here somewhere. So I knew I could do it, and I did it. So it was fantastic.
What are the practicalities around it? I mean, do you have to take time off work? Are you camping in tents to save money and that overnight? How did that all work?
Yeah, I'm like my father. I'm a social worker based in Trentbridge House, overlooking the cricket ground, and so I've had to take 2 months unpaid to do this because obviously, it's public money. So I took 2 months unpaid. The kit cost me about £1,500, and this is why I've really thrown myself into this, because I need to really make some serious money, to make it all worth it. But it's the least I can do for people suffering with dementia. I actually went along to a memory cafe yesterday that's set up across the county, and so if anybody does become ill, please don't sit in silence. Reach out to dementia services and get some support. Like anything else, just reach out, and people are there to support you if you need that as loved ones become ill.
Do you ever think of giving up, or does pride and ego kind of keep you going as much as the desire to do as much as you can for your dad and everyone who's suffering?
Yeah. No, it's not something that ever crossed my mind. Yeah, at times I've got really bad heels, blisters, different things, but no, I never gave up, and I've sort of realised that humans can survive on 4 hours a night and with the wild camping. But obviously, I'm not saying that's a good thing, because obviously sleep's very good for our mental health and keeping ourselves well. But yeah, it was an interesting one, Matt, because wild camping along the way, I pitched in some quite interesting places. I think one was a quarry that I found out was more of a working quarry, so I had to make a quick exit from there. And then, some very windy spots I sort of chose. I was in a derelict fort one night, so that was quite an interesting one in Cornwall, and also a derelict Cornish tin mine. So I could hear the tin mine dripping underneath me all night. But yeah, so I got a one-man tent. So approximately out of the 52 nights, I camped half of them. And the other half I did bunkhouses, B&Bs, just whatever I could get along the way. Nice and cheap and cheerful. I think I was sharing with 5 French blokes one night in this open dorm of 6. So they couldn't speak any English, and I certainly couldn't speak any French. So it was quite eventful. So yeah, I had some real experiences either way. But out of the whole trip, the most, other than the views and the sights and the things that I saw, is people. People were just so kind, just so helpful, whether it was offering me a cup of tea or a lady on a narrowboat giving me a Eccles cake wrapped up in a bit of kitchen roll, or whatever it was. People were just so kind when they realised what I was doing, and doing this for the Alzheimer's Society. And, and going back to the Forest Focus pod, some of these pods I've been listening to 3 and 4 times, so certainly your view rates have shot up. It's been quite comforting to be so far away from home and hearing these familiar voices, and certainly a topic that we all love, so.
Very good, very good. I'll ask you a proper question in a minute, but you didn't watch any horror movies before doing this, did you? When you were sleeping in tin mines and stuff? I was scared, I think.
Yeah. No, good one. No, unfortunately not. I must confess, I was just too tired to consider anything else. As soon as my head hit that pillow, I was gone at night, doing that kind of mileage every day. But music on, whatever it was, podcast, just great, just got me through the day. And I absolutely love doing it, and I love doing it for this fine charity as well. So,
did you have anyone with you, or it sounded quite solitary? Obviously, you mentioned podcasts, but did you have any family walk stints with you or anything like that?
Yeah, I did. I had a lot of family and friends come and visit me for the day, come and walk with me, come and spend overnight. I had a lot of generous offers for, who bought me a bed overnight, for instance. So yeah, I had Royal Marines walk with me in Taunton, which was amazing. And then I've had Scouts walk with me in North Yorkshire. I mean, it was extremely wet in North Yorkshire, if you remember it. a month ago, but the villages were getting washed away, really bad weather conditions. But yeah, it was fantastic to get family and friends, work colleagues, different people come and walk with me. And you do feel lonely, and that's I love people, and particularly with the work I do. But yeah, to be alone like that was quite difficult. So my face did light up when I saw friends just coming around the corner and stuff like that. And I had a mate who got a camper van, for instance. He drove up to near Scotland for 4 nights, and he supported me along the way. I think I've come to realise that Ian Botham did do it in quite a luxury way. Because he was able to probably select the boots that he wanted, but not taking anything away from Beefy. But he probably did have a bit more support than I did. But that's what I chose to do, and it was a dream of mine since seeing him do it in 1985. I achieved it, and it was very surreal at that post at the end.
And as Paul said, I'll put the link to donate in the description. I'll put it out on social media as well on our channel. So if anyone's got any spare cash, times are tough. If you've got any, do chip in. One last question on the walk, Paul, before we do a bit of Forest chat. What are your emotions like on the finish line? Because you put so much into it and then it's done. How do you kind of feel, and how do you just get back into normal day-to-day life? Yeah,
I think lots of parallels for me between following Forest and how I felt at that finish post is this is the truth. But on the last day, I was just singing Mullikin Tyre as walking down the hill towards the John O'Groats post, because that when you go across Trent Bridge and you see the city ground and that famous image of the guy with his daughter on his shoulder, taking your kids to Forest, it was kind of that bit of elation. We're going down to that ground for something special, that pride, that passion that I put into planning all of this. It was a kind of really similar parallel, really felt my passion coming out. And I think what I'm alluding to is that, I'm so far away from Nottingham at that point, but all I could think about was Nottingham. And all I could think about was Forest. It was quite bizarre, to be honest. But yeah, I felt really elated when I got to the post. Naturally, when I got home, I had moments of being quite emotional as well. And, certainly had a lot of sort of well-wishers and all that type of thing, particularly from the Alzheimer's Society, being so kind to say that I'm the highest fundraiser in the country currently for the Alzheimer's Society. So that was lovely to receive that from them. But yeah, absolute elation and a real special moment. And for my friend to be stood there with a bottle of scotch ready for me to have a little swig was kind of sweet. So yeah, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Well done from all of us. We followed you along the way. So yeah, congratulations on that. We'll do a bit of Forest chat, but just before we do, quick word for our sponsors, as ever, the Trent Navigation. You can get your tickets for the Euros to watch the England games at the Nav. They, of course, have now got 2 outdoor screens, 2 outdoor bars, courtyards with a pizza kitchen and barbecue. Pete was saying yesterday how quick the service is on the bars, having gone to watch the first game. So if you want to go and watch the Denmark game, you can get limited general admission, and Slovenia, you can get down to watch that one as well. As I read this, there are a few VIP tables left, so hopefully they're still available. But if you check the gigantic website and search Trent Navigation, then you'll find if there are any, but hopefully there are. Scan the QR code on screen as well if you're watching on YouTube. Right, let's turn Paul into one of the other lads as a pundit for the day and have a chat about the latest transfer rumour that we have. Eric da Silva Moreira has been linked by Sky Sports Germany. He is an under-17 World Cup winner who plays for St Pauli, who are in the won promotion to the Bundesliga last season. He's valued at 1.5 million, according to them. And interestingly, perhaps crucially, he's a client of George Mendes with his links to Forest. So I very much doubt you've seen him play, Paul. I haven't seen him play. But when we're linked with a player of that kind of profile and age, is that one you like the sound of or not?
Yeah, I think I like it. I did manage to find a clip actually this morning, and he does look very mobile. I think on the right side we've missed, don't know what you guys think, but I think we've missed Brennan so much. I think MGW struggled a bit more as a result of not having Brennan as a bit of a release there on that right side. So yeah, this guy looks quite mobile. He's 6'1". Certainly to win the under-17s, again, MGW comes to mind because obviously he did that, didn't he, with England. So yeah, I think this is where we need to go now after last year, and obviously the points deduction. We need to try and scout around, find the Murillos, and I think it really could be a good buy for that. Again, he's got to continue to grow and into that role, but seems a really good bit of business to me, and at that money, it's worth a punt, definitely.
Yeah, that's the thing I like. Like, even if he's 2 years away from the first team, for us to invest in top young talents, which he sounds like he is, at a pretty low price, even if it doesn't work, then it's okay with me. Players can come. I remember when Eugen Bopp came from Germany, he was touted as the next big thing, and he did perfectly well for us. But
he did do well.
He did, yeah. But the thing is, he signed these players cheap. Then it doesn't really matter. I mean, what do you? When we sign like an Origi and a Lingard and stuff like that, do you think, what a waste of money? Or do you think it can still work out for us, but investing in youth might be the better policy?
I think so. I think we've learned the hard way, haven't we? I mean, I think the Lingard, we were all, on the back of being promoted, we were all getting carried away. But I think people outside our club were a bit more concerned about Lingard than we were, and I think that exactly came to fruition. It didn't turn out to be a great thing. I heard he was good in the dressing room, but certainly a player of his pedigree should be doing it. So yeah, I think we're being burnt a little bit, and we need to learn from that now. We need to. Obviously Sangare comes to mind. Really, he's got a massive year, but certainly if we can get him on the pitch and get him performing like he should, but. Sorry to say, it looks like a very poor Guy Moussi at the moment, doesn't he, Sangare? But hopefully that will change, and we can. I think, like Temp said, he could end up being player of the year, and But yeah, I think we, going back to the original question, we need to try and scout Europe, don't we? Clearly, we've got we've got things in place to do that at the club now, which is really good, and I do think we've found some good players. But last year was a bit of a painful one after the 2 previous years for sure. But let's push on now. This 3rd season, we really need to. The recruitment needs to be top, and we need to push on and make sure. But yeah, going back to the player, that right side, I think if MGW's got that right side release again, I think will be good. He looks good on the ball and good dribbler as well. This player. So I think that's where we need to go. Let's go young and bring him through.
Yeah, I think so. I don't mind it at all. Yeah, I think you're right about Sangare in the sense it's a big year for him. We discussed him at length, and he could definitely still come good. Could not, but be interested to see how he develops and how we go about it in the transfer market with other players. The other topic before we finish today is about Steve Cooper. The Daily Telegraph saying he's strong favourite to get the Leicester job. Interestingly, Fabrizio Romano says Graham Potter's in line to get it, so it's a bit of a heavyweight clash there to see who gets that one right. But say it is Cooper who goes to Leicester, would that taint anything for you, given we've got a rivalry of sorts with them, or not?
No, not at all. I think when you followed the club as long as we all have, and the loyalty we've shown to the club, with respect to Dougie Freedman, remember the January evenings with 14,000 down there, and some of the really bad times we had. Obviously, the times down in the 1st division, and the 3 years it took us to get back. So really, Stevie Cooper coming along, that guy in my mind will just always be a Nottingham legend. There's nothing he can do that will actually change our mind. And if he chooses to go to Leicester, then that's it. Personally, I'd have stayed with Stevie Cooper, but I've got to say, Nuno obviously, did his job. And I'll always personally be grateful to Stevie Cooper for giving me that day at Wembley, that one fine day with my dad before he became really ill. And we stood together, and it was absolutely amazing. So if I could shake anybody's hand, it would be Stevie Cooper's, even if he is the Leicester boss.
I suppose a few people have made that trip managerial-wise. Martin O'Neill's probably the main one, and he's still regarded as a Forest legend. If anything, his stint as Forest manager did more to damage him than his stint as Leicester manager, but he still held in the high regard. So yeah, I think you're right about Steve Cooper. I know a lot of fans. It would they certainly taint things. I mean, it's a bit strange. Do you think some fans really don't like Cooper? I think it's a very small minority, but do you think that's a bit strange?
I do find that very strange, to be fair, because when you consider you know, what he's done. I mean, I'm sure you do, Matt, but remember that September when we were in, you know, down in the bottom three, and, you know, thinking, wow, we're going back to the first division again, and then him to arrive and do what he did. I mean, that was one of the best seasons we've had. So really, I'm struggling to see how anybody can sort of dislike him. I get that he probably floundered a bit in the Premier League, and I think tactically at times. I mean, we all go back to the Luton, don't we? When we saw him go like this after we were 2-0 ahead, and obviously he was indicating he wanted to make a change. He made that change, and it shot him in the foot, didn't it? You know, it was 2-2, and, you know, so I do think at times he did, he backed off, didn't he, from when we scored, for instance. And so, you know, I think sometimes tactically, maybe some of the fans are judging him on that. But overall, when you look what he did for us, it's absolutely incredible. He's put us back into the best league in the world. And, you know, we should always be grateful to him for what he's done. And from what I've heard as well, he's a fantastic guy as well. So that makes it even better. So, but no, what a legend. He'll always be welcome at the City Ground in my mind.
Yeah, if he does go to Leicester, that's the challenge, isn't it? To prove, because I still think he's proven in the Premier League, because he kept us up that first season with all the signings and all the injuries. It was probably the right time when he went. I think he'd run his course at Forest, but there is a challenge to convince a few people that he can do it at Leicester. And if he goes there and they're on -8 points, he's going to be fighting fires. So it'll be an interesting challenge for him, especially to sell players.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. He's got a tough job there, but, you know, again, they've got that core of pedigree from the Premier League before. They've got great facilities down there, haven't they? That we're trying to parallel and develop our youth system, you know, so an academy. So, you know, he's got some good stuff there to work with, I'm sure. But yeah, we want to thrash him when they come to the City Ground, that's for sure.
Definitely. Right. I think we'll leave it there. I've noticed that my camera is at the weirdest angle. It looks like I'm on a hill today. I really didn't set up very well. It's a bit late to adjust it now, but yeah, if you stare at the background, it makes you feel a bit sick. So yeah, good job. It's not the longest podcast today, but yeah, really good to have people with us. The live show, I was saying to Paul before we started recording, I did get the file yesterday, but it was 11 gigabytes and it's taken overnight to upload. So that'll be out tomorrow on Thursday. So swap Paul rounds go out today, Wednesday, as you listen to this. So yeah, thanks for Paul's company. And like I say, we'll be back tomorrow. Always give people a forum at the end, Paul, for any other business, anything you want to add. So the floor is yours.
No, I just wanted to thank you all, first of all, that, you know, absolutely fantastic podcast. You know, it certainly got me through my journey. You know, fantastic way that everybody's got different views and we can analyse it together. It really is special, and great that all us Forest fans can share opinions on different things as we, you know, for our passion. So yeah, well done. Keep up the great work. Absolutely love it, and can't wait for the next pod.
Excellent. Yeah, thank you very much for that. And like I say, if you want to donate to Paul and his cause, the link is in the description and we'll post it on social media. But in the meantime, do us a favor as well. I should always say this because I forget, but it does make a difference. If people haven't already, just stick a like on this video if you're watching on YouTube. And if you're listening on iTunes or Spotify, give us a 5-star review if you'd be kind enough. Right. Have a good day, everyone. Check out the live show. It's certainly an interesting one. So watch that and drop your take in the comments. Otherwise, we shall be back probably on Monday after that, unless anything mad happens at the weekend, but it is Forest, so you never know. But in the meantime, have a good day and hopefully see you soon.